Welcome to Talking Pictures Trivia as we venture into our sub-series, Talking TV Trivia. When there's a TV show that catches our attention, this podcast picks a season and explores each episode through trivia. I'm today's host, Nick, and with me is...
Tom.
KJ.
And I'm Chris.
Chris is still volunteering after 3 episodes to be a guest, and it seems like he may be staying on for the entirety of this TV show season. He's still very happy that we're talking more Star Wars. For those joining us for the first time, we start off each episode with 4 trivia questions to determine who will earn today's trivia crown. Then we followed up with the theme discussion associated with the TV episode, in this case involving season 1 of Disney's The Mandalorian. KJ, tell us about today's TV episode.
Today we'll be discussing episode 4 of The Mandalorian, also known as Chapter 4, Sanctuary. This episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard and written by Jon Favreau. There will be spoilers for The Mandalorian up through episode 4. Feel free to press pause until you are caught up. In Chapter 4 of The Mandalorian visits the 7 Samurai and teaches a village to protect itself. Here we meet Cara Dune, who ended her Star Wars career early, and we get to see the child be a child. The Mandalorian learns he cannot leave this kid anywhere and is stuck with the child for at least the rest of the season.
Let's jump into the rapid fire questions. Each question will be worth the same amount of points as the number of the question. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's time for question 1.
Since he's a generous tipper, what did the server at the saloon add to the Mandalorian's order?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in?
KJ?
It was bone broth for the kid because she was all excited she just got that. And I thought it was like a flagon of something that sounded like whiskey.
Tom?
I thought the same thing. I thought it was like this beer sounding thing.
Chris?
She was offering him a flagon of spotchka.
Okay. I'm going to give the points to everyone because it was a beverage and not everyone knows spotchka. But spotchka is actually a beverage made from that krill, the thing they were farming in the village, that bluish drink. So if you ever see them drinking that bluish drink, it's actually made from that creature.
Fermented shrimp.
Yes.
Tom, have you tried this with your fish expeditions? Is this?
I haven't fermented shrimp and then ingested it.
Neon electric blue shrimp, by the way.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. There's a key part there.
I mean, maybe that sounds like it would kill me, but maybe it's good for you. I don't know.
It's time for question 2.
What role did Cara Dune play in the rebellion?
Oh, locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Okay. KJ.
Was she a shock trooper?
Tom.
She was a raider at first, but then her role switched to like kind of doing security details and things like that, things she didn't like, and that's why she left.
Chris.
She was a shock trooper, and then she started rounding up ex-Imperials, and then she became like a bodyguard slash basically somebody taking dignitaries and protecting like security guard.
All of you are going to get the points. We have a flawless episode so far. This is very rare. Mm-hmm. Yes, she was a rebel shock trooper tracking down top-ranked Imperial officers. The other things are just gravy, what she did after that. But that's like kind of her big representation of her character and who she was. That's what she enjoyed and related to.
It's time for question 3.
What is the monster in the woods?
Oh, locked in.
Locked in.
The monster in the woods?
The monster in the woods.
Locked in? Was it the ATST? Was that the monster, the ATST?
AT-AT. Like the phone company.
ATST, the chicken walker.
The points go to KJ and Chris. It was an ATST, not an AT-AT, Tom. Oh no.
Is the
AT-AT is the 4-legged walker.
Oh, okay. Fine. Whatever.
So going into the final question, it's still anyone's game. KJ and Chris are tied with 6 points. Tom, you have 3.
It's time for question 4.
The Mandalorian does something relevant in this episode that we've not yet seen in this show. What is it? You got to love that question.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Whoa, KJ, with some enthusiasm.
I'll lock in too.
I'm just staying with KJ, you know.
He takes off his helmet.
What?
Yeah.
Tom?
He eats.
Okay.
My answer is that he takes off his helmet to eat.
I guess everyone's getting the 4 points. This is the first one where we got to go into bonus question territory.
Ah, stupid AT.
By the way, AT&T.
Whatever.
By the way, Tom,
Mhm.
the bonus question is worth 5 points.
Oh, it's not sudden death. Oh, I get to participate.
This can be anybody's game here.
It's time for a bonus question.
The bonus question is really a bonus statement. So complete the statement. The child is referred to as this critter.
Locked in.
Uh-oh.
Locked in.
Oh, I got worried there, Chris, for a second.
I don't know. Locked in?
KJ.
Is it a wombat? I'm going wombat.
Tom.
I'm gonna say little. It's a little critter.
Chris.
A womp rat.
It's a womp rat. So close, KJ. So close. Oh man.
Yeah, they don't knock out wombats in what's the Beggar's Canyon on Tatooine.
Beggar's Canyon on Tatooine. Although this is said by the Mandalorian, so that makes us realize that the Mandalorian has likely visited Tatooine in his travels. So
or womp rats are migrational.
Well, maybe an African womp rat.
We do know that lothcats are on a planet that's not Lothal, so perhaps other species of animals are everywhere else.
But Lothcat was also in a establishment, so I thought that was more of a pet than a wild creature. So, but yes, you're right. It's possible that womp rats and wombats are in different locations.
So confident.
So I think based on Chris taking down the first 4 episodes, we may have to change up the format. So I think going forward, we're going to have Tom and KJ collectively compete against Chris. And this way I can really turn up the Star Wars content. So we'll see how that goes in the coming episodes. But back to this one. This was a little bit of a deviation from the theme of some of the other episodes we saw when it came to style and feel. And that's why I wanted to bring up the topic of samurai influences. Of course, KJ even alluded to the 7 samurai in his wonderful plot summary. But we'll explore that a little bit more when we get back from these brief messages.
Are you sick of vibroblades just not cutting it? Then it's time to upgrade your cutlery with Kyber knives. It slices, it dices, it melts through blast shields. Our Force-sensitive consultants handpick only the finest crystals straight from the source at the Jedi Temple on Ilum to power these blades. With our patented, Force-free technology, you'll get even cuts and a perfect sear every time. Best yet, there's a lifetime, no sharpening guarantee. Pick yours up today at Tashi Station and any of your other fine retailers throughout the galaxy. Kyber knives. No need to force it.
And we're back. How about those samurai influences in this episode as well as throughout Star Wars?
I don't think it's a stretch to say that George Lucas was very heavily influenced by Kurosawa and other samurai, like other films of that nature. I mean, if you look at Darth Vader's helmet, it's a samurai helmet for sure, with the big winged kind of like carapace around the outside of it. And I mean, he is this character, the Mandalorian, is very much kind of like a cut between like a Clint Eastwood a Western character versus mixed in with a classic samurai traveling from town to town, like using his skills for a different thing. And this episode specifically shows him using his skills along with Cara Dune's help to take down a mechanical object that they have no business being able to fight, honestly. So it kind of, the Seventh Samurai thing that KJ brought up in the introduction was spot on.
It's the Hidden Fortress was the Kurosawa film he like took directly from, right? Lucas did.
That's another one that comes up a lot in his themes. Yes. Hidden
Yeah. Yeah.
This plot line, I think, was more Seven Samurai, but those were both influences.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point. Yeah, they hire the seven. If we recall, they hire the Seven Samurai to protect them protect the village from these kind of ravagers, right? That was okay. Yeah, I mean that the tie there that I think is maybe a little more firm than that to Westerns is that the samurai are a people with a history, a people with a nation, and a people with a kind of creedal language, and a language of based in kind of pride and honor, etc. There's a sort of anarchic way in which Westerns work, in which like you see civilization and lack of civilization, and the hero is someone who kind of dances between those things. The hero can be a wild man. It doesn't seem to be the case so much in samurai films, though I'll also confess a bit of ignorance on this topic. It seems like with the samurai is that the figure is drawing from the culture from which he came, which is also kind of like a superior culture in many cases to it's a superior culture to either the culture that's watching the movie as it's positing itself, or a culture that maybe the samurai has found himself in. And so you have this kind of like a glorification of a better nation, a better past. I don't know if that's exactly playing the kind of the nationalism aspect. I don't know if that's necessarily playing in this, though. I mean, the Mandalorians have lost their tribe or their way, right? They just have the codes. The world itself seems to have evaporated.
Cara Dune is very similar to him in that regard, though, too. She's lost her identity, and she's out there trying to figure out a better purpose. And here they are, and I was going to make a bad joke. Could we call this the Two Samurai? Because that's really what it is. They're the ones there teaching them how to protect themselves from this creature. And really, it's the Raiders. But what I will say, I just want to interject, too. I thought that was a really cool portrayal of the ATST. It looked like it was a beast or a creature with the red beady eyes. And I think it also had paint on it. So it looked a little bit more tribal, if you will, too. So that whole interaction there, I really enjoyed how they did have to figure out how to beat a superior enemy using their wits and strategy.
And she's it's interesting to have an actual athlete in a role instead of an actress. I mean, Gina Carano is a former MMA fighter and an MMA champion, and she's built like an MMA champion. She's not heavy, but she's a thicker person.
Yes,
strong. And you compare, and it's interesting to watch her move, because if you compare her to, like, let's say Scarlett Johansson or Scarlett Johansson's body double in the various Avenger movies where she appears, it's like this thin 108-pound kind of bit of grace that you see. But with Carano, she's strong, and even though she isn't the world's best actress, honestly, there's a bit of a kind of a one-note problem. Watching her move on stage watching her move on film it's very interesting to see, like an actual athlete do that. There's far more efficiency in her motion than you would see in kind of an Avengers figure.
The show sets the tone for her character pretty quickly, too, because there's a specific scene where they get into a brawl, her and the Mandalorian, and his impervious flamethrower doesn't work with her because she actually sees it coming and blocks it. So that's the one where you can see that she is a strong competitor when it comes to fighting and all of that. So it's interesting to see right from the get-go that even though we've seen the Mandalorian dispatch 14 different stormtroopers in an encounter, she is cunning enough to understand what's coming and fight and actually best him, or at least equal him, because they end in a draw in that matter. So it's interesting to see her role, and she looks the role too. It's not this fantasy thing, as Tom just mentioned, where someone who really probably wouldn't match to someone of greater strength is actually able to come toe to toe.
Yeah, can I ask a question of the more Star Wars expert people? I just want to know, so the Mandalore breaks the code, right, by asking about the child and rescuing the child.
He breaks the bounty hunter code, not the Mandalorian code.
Okay, these are different codes.
Oh yes, he actually broke the guild's code, the bounty hunter guild. That had nothing to do with the Mandalorian code.
Oh, so the Mandalorians don't.
They
form a
protect
guild.
him. They protect. Remember, the Mandalorians help him escape.
Yeah,
with all
that's
the
what I
guild
was.
members. Yeah.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I was like, why is the guild fighting him and also protecting him? But I guess the Mandalorians are not necessarily guild members.
No, that's a profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession, Tom.
Okay, and so he's a Mandalorian who is also
Happens to be a bounty hunter.
Who's joined a guild, and many Mandalorians haven't joined guilds.
Correct.
So there's like most Mandalorians just are guys with helmets
and ladies.
And okay,
yeah, because
down underground, waiting for Pedro Pascal to come back so they can go above ground. Yeah,
one at a time, which I don't think is literal.
I guess he seems to have the only toilet in the galaxy, so maybe that's why they're waiting on him.
I told you the bath pass in the last episode.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I like episodes like this because I don't know if we mentioned this before, or if it was brought up in a conversation before the podcast started. But the idea that like a lot of times Star Wars, I think KJ might have said this, the Star Wars is better for him when you don't understand everything. I think that episodes like this are great because they really give you more perspective about the characters. So like you watch a 2.5 hour Star Wars film and you have this character who you're being told is the good guy, but you don't know why. You have this character over here that's the bad guy, and you're being told he's the bad guy, but you don't know why. Like you don't know what their inner machinations or their inner workings are. In episodes like this and episodes like number 3 that we talked about last week, you really get to start seeing like the character development. And that's why I really like the idea that they turn Star Wars into a TV show that can supplement the movies. So give me like it's the old Community TV show thing. Give me 6 seasons and a movie. Like give me character development, and then give me the ultimate in the movie that you want. I really, although I think some people might call this episode more of a filler and just to showcase the ATST, I like it because it gives you more background into his thinking and how he's dancing between being himself, being moral to the child, being a Mandalorian, being a bounty hunter. You're seeing him balance this tightrope.
And the end is critical too, because he thinks he's doing the right thing by leaving the child there, only to have an assassin still find them there. Luckily, Cara Dune took care of him before the assassin took care of the child. But he realized nowhere will be really safe if he's not watching over the child. So there is a lot of character development, just like you said, Chris, there through this episode.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of cool. We get to spend some time with everybody, get to know them a little better. And I agree, Nick. I really thought from here they were going to then, it became a TV show because now he knows he can't leave the kid. So every episode we can go to a different planet and have the adventures on that planet. And by the end, we wrap it up nicely and move on to the next one. So, yeah, this episode definitely establishes this plot as episodic.
We shall see how it plays out in the weeks to come. Check out our website, talkingpicturestrivia.com, for more information about us and our episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel. We are extremely grateful for any positive reviews, as those help others like you find us. If you like what you hear, remember to like and subscribe to our show. Do you follow Bushido, and why? Leave a comment on our YouTube channel and let's continue the conversation. Thanks for joining us today, Chris.
Anytime. I can't wait to do the rest of the season with you guys.
Yes, and we are definitely changing up the rules a bit. So you're going to have some steep competition with the duo of Talking Pictures trivia to compete against you. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't know how successful I'll be, but I'll try my best.
The Wombats versus the Womp Rat.
Additionally, you can find us on Twitter at Talking Studios. Where can we find the rest of you guys?
I'm on Twitter at ThomasLayman15.
And you can find me on Twitter at KJ10001000.
I can also be found on Twitter at The Nicknamed. Join us next time as we continue The Mandalorian with Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. Talk to you then.
I'm waiting for KJ to say something so we can see what that big book is.
I'm trying to get it close enough to the camera so you guys can just comment.
Star Wars Encyclopedia. KJ is diving into the Star Wars Encyclopedia, which probably would have been helpful before we answered the question.
Well, I'm looking up Womp Rat here and seeing if it's in here.
How about Wombat? You got a Wombat in there somewhere?
No, there's no Wom species at all, actually.
I'd like to share that it took a few minutes for KJ to set up this joke.
And it's failing.
What's the joke?
So I thought if you guys if we said next week we're gonna team up together and then KJ's actually starting to read the Star Wars
Encyclopedia.
Okay. So they have Womp.
I thought you were looking it up.
So they have Womp, a derogatory term derived from Womp Rat. It is often directed at the rat-like ratnants on Tatooine. And then a Womp Rat is carnivorous creatures that live in the canyons of Tatooine.
There you go.